Today is April 12th. This is the meeting of the Hubbardston CPC, and we are starting at 8:15. We are doing a Zoom meeting, so we will do a roll call. Sandra Berry here.
Alice Lipdell here.
Susan Worth here.
Ayla Larson here.
Daniela Raquelian here.
Okay, Kayla, you're taking notes?
Sure. Yep.
Thank you so much. So, okay, so we'll start with the minutes that Kayla had sent to us the night of our last meeting. So they came out very quick and they were very thorough. Does anyone have any discussion about them?
Thought they were great. I'd make a motion to approve them, but I didn't print them out. I just read them. What was the date?
March
know.
15th.
Okay, I moved to approve the minutes of March 15th.
I'll second that. Susan Worth.
Okay, all in favor? Sandra Berry, yes.
Alice Lipdell,
Susan-
yes.
Susan Worth, yes.
Ayla Larson, yes.
Daniela Raquelian, I'll have to abstain because I wasn't there, so I don't know what was on there.
Oh,
You know, I'm
fine.
assuming they're accurate, but
yeah, I mean, I read them as soon as they come out because otherwise you don't always remember. I'm like,
Right.
right, these are good. Yep.
This is sort
Okay.
of a little point of order. You can actually vote to approve minutes that you didn't attend if you've read the minutes.
I did read the minutes, so then I will vote to approve them.
You should, because we need a quorum, right? If you've read them.
Yes. Okay,
So I'll change my vote to approve them then, because I did actually read them, but
there was a lot in there too.
there was.
Yeah. Okay, so I appreciate everyone attending this meeting and we'll make it quick. The reason we had to call this meeting again is because at the last meeting, we had voted to move the money back from the playground back into the funds, as well as the Hubbardston baseball project back into the funds. And it turns out that I mistakenly forgot that I did have one more expense for the playground that I had forgotten to even do, and that was to have new signs made up that went on the playground that talked about using this playground is at your own risk.
Oh, yeah, all that
rules
stuff,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. And I'll be honest, I had forgotten all about it. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me. And even though Susan kept saying, well, the playground sign, is it done? And I'm thinking the big sign. I'm like, yeah, it's done. Like, and then all of a sudden I was down there or driving by and it was a beautiful day and there's 1,000 people there. And I'm looking around like, oh my goodness, there's no signs. There's no like, you get hurt, it's your own fault kind of sign. No, I had to get them up and get them done quickly. And I appreciate DFX here in town. He did them very quickly for me. And I actually was down there tonight and got them up. So anyways, but because, and Sue's brought to my attention that because we already had voted to move that money back, we have to actually revote to rescind our vote so that the funds can be used for these signs. And as well as baseball, after our last meeting, reached back out to me after I sent them one last email. And it turns out there's a new president and I didn't know that, and they didn't know to contact me. You know, when the boards all change, sometimes there's a lack of communication. So they are looking to, I guess, one part of the area that they did, whether it was, I think it was where they seeded an area, they needed a little more loam and seed to redo it because it didn't take. So they asked if they could, and I'm like, yeah, it's still part of the project. So they haven't used the funds yet. So I have asked them if they would do it sooner rather than later. So so we can kind of wrap this up. But so what we need to do is, so what I'm asking for is for us to rescind the vote the last time to move the funds back into the, I don't know what you would call it, back into the usable budget or
Undesignated funds back into the available.
back into the, yes.
So do you
Should we
want
do it in two
Well-
separate votes though? Because one goes to open space and one goes to undesignated reserve. How do you want, what's the best way?
I think we should just redo what we did, undo what we did last time. However we voted
Okay.
last time, we should just redo it. So we probably need to pull up the minutes. I did not pull the minutes up, but if
Yeah,
anyone else did,
I have them. So our motion on Rainbow's End was to transfer the 4,684.17 appropriated for the playground but not spent back into undesignated reserve fund.
Exactly. What about if we do them separately then? And then that's done. And then we can do the other one? Does that make sense?
so Kayla, if you're comfortable, do
So
you want a motion and read them and then we can vote?
Yeah, so I'll make two motions. The first one to rescind the vote from last meeting and to move the $4,684.17 appropriated for the Rainbows End Playground from the undesignated reserve fund back to that project
Yeah.
account.
Perfect.
Second.
So you've made that motion. I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Sandra Berry, yes.
Alice Liddell, yes.
Susan Worth, yes.
Kayla Larson,
Danielle-
yes.
Danielle Harry-Killian, yes, that's fine.
Okay, and I will make another motion. I don't have the dollar amount from Curtis Rec.
I've got it handy. It's $12,026.50. Does that sound right? $12,026.50.
Okay,
That's a lot of seed and loam. 12
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, they're not gonna use it all. No, they're
Wanna
not.
Move it all back or?
Well,
Well,
they don't, yeah.
I don't know how much they're gonna spend. That's the only thing. And then whatever they don't spend, we'll just move back at our next meeting. And even like with these signs, I think they're a couple $100. So most of that money will go back in.
Maybe the bookkeeping's easier that way to rescind the whole vote, right? So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
'cause
we
I
don't
don't have
know exactly what those amounts are yet that they would use.
so
Right.
that went back into where was that
That goes
put?
back to open space. Yep,
Okay.
open space. Or it goes back
So what-
to
why do we have-
the Cal Ripken baseball from open space.
All right. Why don't we have Kayla try that again?
sure. I make a motion that we vote to rescind the vote made at the previous CPC meeting. This one was actually made February 22nd at that meeting,
Right.
to transfer $12,026.50 from the open space reserve back to the Curtis Rec Field baseball project funds.
I'll second.
Okay, so Sandra Berry, yes.
Alice Liddell, yes.
Susan Worth, yes.
Kayla Larson, yes.
Danielle Harry-Killian, yes.
Okay, the motion passes. So, well, thank you all for doing that. And like I said, when we have a next meeting, then all these funds should be used up. However, it needs to be used up, not that the money will all be used, but the project should be completed and we can vote to move the monies back in. Any other discussion on that? No? Okay. So the next thing I did want to bring up, I originally wasn't going to talk about it until I was looking at some things. And so Alice did write and say that she's ending her term. Is that correct, Alice?
That's right. It ends anyway, but it's supposed to be appointed from the planning board, right? And we in the planning board, always the chair does it since I've been here, so.
Okay. And like I said, it's absolutely fine that you want to do that. But there are members at large space. We have some available openings if you wanted to stay on, but I'm not pressuring you. I'm just letting you know that. But I think Alice, Kayla, Susan, and Danielle's terms all run out.
Yeah.
In June. And so I just didn't know if anyone else is planning on continuing, or if someone else on your board is going to be appointed, or if your board's gonna leave a vacancy. So, or maybe you don't know because you haven't even talked to your boards. But, so I was just trying to get an idea if you knew whether you were continuing or not continuing, each one of you. And if you don't want to talk about it out loud, you don't have to. But it just kind of gives us a head up as to what we're going to be looking at come June. So,
I'm pretty sure nobody on open space is just dying to do this. So I guess I would like to stay on unless someone else is interested, but we sort of discussed it last time, but no one was jumping at it. So do you put the names in then of the people, or do we individually have to
no, we just let the Board of Selectmen know that. Susan
Oh, okay.
wants to
All
be
right.
reappointed. You know, Danielle said she wanted to be reappointed, and they just reappoint you and they just write it up, and it will be effective as of the end of June, I think, first, July 1st, which would be the new year.
And they're three-year terms or what?
I think
right?
they're all 3-year terms.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
And yeah, so I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to look to see what we're looking at come, the summertime. If we need to try to recruit other people or members at large or what have you, just to try to fill up spots. Because truly, if all 4 of you left, which is absolutely fine, you have the right to do it, that would leave me and Dolores. And
Be easy to get a quorum.
no,
Not.
actually, I honestly don't
Actually
think
not.
we could function as a committee.
Yeah, no, I think you're
I
right.
don't think we could. So that, I was just trying to get an idea of that. So, because technically we're short, what, 3 people?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
member at large, historical, and
Yeah.
housing, because planning and housing are double duty. Yeah.
Housing is not housing, it's the housing authority, and we don't have housing authority. So there is
do we-
a provision in the general law that says select board can, if you have a vacant board or an inactive board, the select board can appoint someone to fill that seat that's knowledgeable and interested in doing it, right?
Mhm.
So that's a possibility. But first of all, I want to see, I think Christopher is going to wind up being our next chair because I think he's the only one interested and I think he'd be a great chair.
Mhm.
But you got to vote, right? So I'm going to pick my head out of the ring. I need a break. I've done it for like 5 years and I'm exhausted. And he wants to do it, I think. So I think he'll do CPC. Well, if affordable housing, perks up, if there's something, but going on with it, right?
Mhm.
Maybe I'll go and tell the select board, let me represent housing, right?
That's.
I can't run for that seat because it's housing authority and we are not the housing authority. We're just a committee.
Yeah.
So I might or might not be back. I don't know. My real interest is housing. And there's a couple of things that are wild cards out there. So maybe something will get going,
Good.
but we'll see. Well, no more Thursday because we have these 2 tax title lots, but they're very difficult to develop. So we got to see.
Is one of or potential brownfields?
What one is lot 57, which is brownfield, I guess you call it. It's the old gravel pit on 57. On Pitcherville Road. It has lead in the soil from the shooting. And street
The
sweeping.
shooting, really?
Just the lead but it went on for years. It was the police rifle range, So they're doing test wells. It's like gonna cost us, I don't know, probably 80,000 to clean it up or something.
Oh, my gosh.
Ooh.
It's horrible, actually. Well,
Would
no,
there be any? Yeah, that sounds awful.
but we put some into it, a little bit of money into it is housing funds. To just see if it needed to be done. They can quickly be done. The next step was like 40,000, and that it's not coming out of housing funds. It's coming out of town funds because the town made the mess. It's not housing, right? So we may or may not get to the point where it could be housing, but we do have 2 new tax title properties that have just been judgments just issued. They're on near, one's completely wet that borders on it's Streeter Road, and New Westminster Road, Old Westminster Road,
Oh, yeah.
Old Westminster and Streeter, right in that area.
Yeah.
But but they abut, and the other one's bigger, but it has access issues. It's just got a one. It does come with access, but you're supposed to have frontage, and there are issues, right? So we sent it out to Places Associates, our consultants, and he's doing an evaluation, whether it can be used for affordable housing. But that was the deal we made with the town, is that we would use CPC money to do the tax titles. And then if we could use it for housing, that we would get first dibs on it. So it may be real exciting. I just don't know.
Hopefully.
So see, oh, go ahead, Danielle, what?
No, I just said hopefully it works out.
So the CPC funds are covering the legal parts, and that's why on that silly $200 where somebody had sent me, or Kelly, I think had said, okay, these are, you know how we finally figured it out, Alice, that the select board was supposed to pay those 2 invoices. And I guess they got buried somehow on David Nixon's desk. That one was from August, one was from September 2020, you know what I'm saying? So they just
if they related to the tax title lots, we paid them.
Yes, but it wasn't the legal part, it was the actual cleanup part.
Right.
So
right.
CPC will be responsible for the legal. And am I getting that straight? But we're not going to be picking up any of the other actual cleanup costs.
If it relates to lot 57, don't pay anything until you hear from me, because we had a feasibility study agreed on, and we took it off the table before we signed it, because if it costs so much to clean up the lot,
What's the point, right? Right. Yeah. All right.
And there's
Okay.
different kinds of cleanups. There's cleanup that's kind of cleanup, and then there's cleanup that's good enough that you can sink wells in and drink the water, right?
3 levels. 3 levels of cleanup.
They got to clean it up to the level that we could sink the wells and drink the water, right? And if that's going to be prohibitive, then
Why? Yeah. It's money down the drain. Sorry, that was a joke.
That was a good one.
the town would have to clean it up though anyway, you know.
Oh, will
because-
they, just so that it's not leaching into something, or?
Right, especially across the road in Pitcherville is a very, if we ever put in a municipal well, that's where it would be.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So we do need to keep it from and it's not a huge problem, it's just that it's really expensive, contaminated soil and test wells, and so I don't know. So I don't know where it's going, but the other lots, I might be back. We might have a really good plan, but I think I'd rather wait and see and let Christopher represent the board generally, you know.
Mhm.
I'm not sure why planning actually, I mean, it has a seat, but none of those 3 pots are really planning board, you know what I mean? We don't really do parks and recreation much. We don't, but I guess the idea is planning board should be weighing in on any big plans in town, right? I don't know, but
Most towns,
so.
CPC is in most of the areas around us, in most of the towns, are made up by the same board members. You know what I mean? It's planning, parks, you know.
Yeah, that's actually out of the statute, but I just have never made a lot of sense to me, because planning, you know, that you can only use it for certain things, right? And planning board doesn't really have much jurisdiction over those particular things, but
Right.
anyway,
Affordable.
I will come back as a second, unless Christopher doesn't want to do it, or he's not voted in, which I think he will be, because nobody else wants to do it. I would come back in as let the selectmen appoint me as a housing person, if we get that far, because that's all I'm really interested in. You know, I'm interested in the historic and stuff too, but I'd rather work on one thing. Which,
Well, and since no one else has really picked it up and run with it in so many years, the housing thing, you know what I'm saying? It seems like as you look back, there was money set aside for planning and this and that, but something's actually happening now. I mean,
got the Habitat House, that's good.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so,
wonderful.
yeah, it speaks well for you guys and the community that they supported
But we're
it.
supposed to have 123 units more than we have.
True. That's
Well,
why.
way to go.
It's starting slow and
Is that
sure.
all? But it's one, but that's why if we just keep pegging away at it, it will.
Right, well, and
start
the
to-
other lot would be bigger, it would be more units, if you can do anything with it. Which Bill thinks we can is preliminary look, so stay tuned.
Okay. And yes, you've worked hard for a long time and
Mhm.
I can see why you might want a hiatus. So enjoy it. And, you know, who knows, maybe grandkids will come along. You never know.
Well, I think it's wonderful that we got the Habitat House. Now. All the things we've done are great since I've been on this committee. You know, the playground's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of good things.
Land,
There's
that big
commercial
land
done.
acquisition, 70 some acre. I mean, oh, geez, big
Yeah.
things. It was been a great time.
Okay, anything else that anyone talk about?
Yeah,
Just a
I will
couple-
also
Oh, go ahead, Kayla.
have to step down from the board this coming June. I'll be leaving Hubbardston. So I don't know yet who on the Concom will replace my seat, or I know that it's been a vacant seat in the past. So I'll have to bring it up at our next meeting.
Where you going?
Oh,
To be determined, but towards Boston.
oh
Very nice.
my, that's, she's saying it with a
Congratulations.
very happy smile. So I think that
Yeah,
we're happy
it's a
for
good
you,
move.
but we will, and you're good note taking. How about you stay and just do the notes? No.
If we can keep it
No.
on Zoom.
Well, I hate to say it, but really, well, people have got to do what they've got to do though. So if it's good for
Yeah.
you, but we will miss you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Good luck to you, Kayla.
Thank you.
Well, good luck.
Maybe maybe you can talk your father into taking your spot.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
She didn't sound. Oh dear.
Um,
Oh,
Okay.
I just have two things, just thinking fiscal year 2022 and finally looking ahead to fiscal year 2023. Just yesterday, they, the DOR reported the 35% state match for next year. So
Nice.
that's significant.
Wow.
And so
Absolutely.
they said, what you do is you look at what the estimate is and multiply 0.35. And so we would end up with 162,000 for CPA, approximately. I mean, it's estimate.
That's
But
wonderful.
Great.
yeah, so the big pot, the undesignated reserve would be 105. So we
Nice.
will spend it wisely, or maybe we want to think about larger goals and try to save. I don't know. It depends what comes up, right?
Right.
Yep.
Right. Maybe it'll be
No.
the day housing actually comes to something. We'll see.
Maybe.
That's
I
not as
mean,
much
because
there.
undesignated reserve could start to build up,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes, it
and that could make, and then maybe get a state grant or a federal grant of some sort. So, oh, and just one thing that was said at the, which meeting was it? David mentioned that Massachusetts is getting 9 billion with a B dollars. And that if people are interested in trying for grants and so forth, this is the time to do it because the money's there. So
Wow.
that was in the context of talking about connectivity with the idea of the High Street thing, which I know is a hot button issue, but just it's something to think about.
Mhm.
So the money, there will be some big bucks out there if we have some big projects, but we have to have it attractive. And I'm just wondering, and nobody said anything about that project. I know Danielle, where is she still there? I don't see. her.
Yeah, I am, but I wouldn't.
Oh, okay, there's you. Okay.
Considering that,
You know, I'm just gonna put my 2 cents out there. I think I think they do need more parking, but why does it have
okay,
to have an
listen, I'm
opening?
gonna stop you now as a favor, because
Oh,
this
okay.
is not on the agenda and you know it's a contentious issue.
Oh, okay,
Um,
all right,
So
all
that
right.
if any board was gonna be discussing that plan, not posting it would be a foolish choice.
Okay, all right, we'll stop right there. So, all right, but I can mention that there's lots of funds out there, right?
Yeah,
Massachusetts, I mean,
the
little
CPC
Mass, yeah.
CPC doesn't, we don't bring the projects to us. People,
People bring them.
other groups
Right.
apply for them.
Right, right,
And there's,
So-
so as far as I know, there's no application in from any group.
exactly.
That's on that, so.
There isn't,
Right.
yeah, or on anything right now. And we won't even, so we won't meet again until August. And we'll see if we even have applications at that time.
Right. Well, I had a silly question for you only because I was watching Select Board. What's the $8,000 basketball court thing request?
Oh, so that request is, so when we had the basketball court done, we, well, basically the price was higher than we had funding for. It's to seal it. It's never been sealed. The court's never been sealed. So that's on a capital plan. That's on
Okay.
a capital plan that we posted out like 5 years of different projects to be done. And yeah, what is this, project number 3? I don't know. I don't
I don't
remember.
think it didn't sound like they passed it or that they were gonna put it on the warrant.
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do a 5-year plan and then they ask you to revise it and we didn't revise it. I didn't even think it was on for this year. I actually thought it was a year from now.
No, I don't know. They were talking about it at Select Board. I'm like, what? And they didn't seem to know what it was for. They didn't know if it, they was like, there's not enough room for another basketball court. That wouldn't pay for a basketball court. So they didn't seem to know what they were talking about.
Oh,
I
that's
just wondered,
interesting,
I didn't know if,
because
like,
they-
maybe if something gotten broken or something and had to be replaced.
No. It's, yeah, that's interesting because when you fill out that paperwork, you have to say what it specifically is for. So I
Yeah,
know it,
whatever.
I know what it says, but whatever. So, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, it's to seal the court. So, and that
Yeah.
was, I mean, the big thing really down there is the walking track. It's gonna have to, I don't know. I'm not gonna be dealing with it. I'm
I don't
sorry.
want to get into the other issue
Are you not
again, but
running? Sandra, are you running? You're still gonna be on Parks, aren't you?
My term runs out next year and I'm done. I've volunteered for
Oh.
21 years on the parks and I'm tired.
I think you should go for 25. You'll get a gold thing of some sort.
Nope, maybe I'll get a little pin, huh?
an apple or something. Oh my goodness, these are major changes.
Can I ask
Yeah.
one question before you adjourn here?
Sure.
Which is, so we've been steaming along in the Habitat fundraising against all odds.
Yeah,
We are now
I'm
with.
glad you said that. I have to pay my money for my prize there that I've been on.
Yes,
That was
yeah.
a great fundraiser. For anyone who didn't do it last week, we had so much fun. My husband's like, we should do more of these. And I'm like,
Oh,
"Easy."
oh, it was great. Even my big, I was the one that put that big urn on it, even it sold. But anyway, so I think the gap is gonna be like more, like 9,000 or less, in our articles 25. So how should we handle this? So what Susan was saying was, well, you could do the whole 25 and just return the rest, let it just pass the way it is. We can't take more than the house costs. So
Mhm.
it's possible that the main organization missed its target, or there's a little bit more overrun, so there might be a piece of that. She's trying to refine the number, but it's not going to be 25 that we need to finish it.
So what,
So what do you think we should do?
so what happens is when she comes up with her final figures, because it's not going to be able to get into the warrant at this point. Today's the 12th, right? So we can do it on the floor, at town meeting.
Just
we can-
reduce what we
You can
need.
reduce it. Yeah, you can always reduce the number. You can't make the number larger. So that will be no problem. And if Carol wants to come and speak on that and just say, we're only requesting this much money now, then we can just reduce it.
I'll try to get her to come to the meeting.
And if
If
she
Carol-
knows ahead of time, how much it is, we can just let them know and they'll just, what's the guy's name that's on the front who talks about it?
Moderator.
Moderator.
Moderator. Yeah.
I don't know his
I'm
name.
tired. I was literally at the park for 2 hours. I got home at 7:30, getting those signs up and everything. We had to put the shades on, so I'm just tired. So anyways, the moderator can just talk about it and he can just reduce it as well, right, Danielle? Isn't that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just didn't want to be in a position where we'd have to be calling another meeting here or anything.
Yeah,
So
no, we
yeah.
don't. No, I mean, not that we can't call another meeting because we can, but no, she just needs to get the information to us and we will bring it to David and he'll let the moderator know. Or actually it will be Ryan because Ryan's coming
Yeah.
back May 2nd.
When is Ryan going to be back? The 2nd of May?
May 2nd, yeah,
2nd.
He's
all right.
back in the office, right?
yeah.
But he's
He's
back.
actually,
but-
he's back now, but he's
Right.
got time with his family right now and he's coming May 2nd. So
Nice.
Great.
it'll be nice to see him and have him back. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like David though, actually. He was
Yeah,
real-
David was good. He had a ton of knowledge. You could tell he'd done this
Yeah.
job for a long time. Yeah. Yeah.
great,
so.
but I'm sure he must want to retire too, you know?
'Cause he came out of retirement to fill in
Do
for this.
this,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
Excellent, excellent. That's great.
all right.
So-
Anything else? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'd be willing to make a motion to adjourn.
Sounds good. I second that. Susan Worth.
Okay. Sandra Berry, yes.
Al Slido, yes.
Susan Worth, yes.
Kayla Larson, yes.
Daniela Kelly, and yes.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. It's 8:45.